So let me ask you a question. When you flip the switch on a new solar system, do you instantly stop drawing power from the utility grid? It's a super common assumption, right? The sun shines, the panels do their thing, and boom, the electric meter just stops dead. But honestly, the truth about what's actually happening on a molecular electrical level is a whole lot more complicated than that. And today, we are completely challenging that assumption.
Welcome back to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here, because today we're skipping the textbook theory completely. We're going to prove exactly how inverters behave in the real world. We're tossing out the fluffy marketing brochures and relying on actual, physical clamp meter measurements. We want to see what literally happens to your grid power draw when you switch between grid tie and hybrid inverter modes.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. Marketing versus reality. 2. Grid tie baseline behavior. 3. Hybrid active energy management. 4. The zero export reality. And 5. The science behind measurement.
Section 1. Marketing versus reality. If you spent any time at all looking into solar, you've definitely seen the marketing. Those basic animations, the incredibly simplified app screenshots, and these huge sweeping claims like grid tie is cheaper or hybrid is better. But here's the thing. What they don't show you is the physical reality. We are actually getting our hands dirty here, measuring real-time import and export current using physical clamp meters while loads change. We aren't just trusting a slick app, we are measuring the raw, undeniable physics of the wire itself.
Now, before we go any further, I really have to emphasize something absolutely crucial. Getting these kinds of measurements means working near live AC conductors and breaker panels. And guys, this involves potentially lethal voltages. The dangers here are no joke. We're talking shock, arc flash, severe burns, or even worse. So proper precautions are literally mandatory. We're using insulated tools, we stick strictly to the one-hand rule to keep current away from the heart, and we never, ever work alone. Seriously, if you aren't a qualified professional, please do not attempt these measurements at home. Safety always comes first.
All right, moving on to Section 2. Grid tie baseline behavior.
So, what exactly is a grid tie inverter anyway? Well, in simple terms, it's a device designed to synchronize directly to the utility grid's AC waveform. It relies entirely on the grid as its voltage and frequency reference. Sure, it can push your excess solar power back onto the grid, but, and this is a massive, absolutely critical limitation, it cannot operate during a power outage. Without that utility reference there to guide it, a standard grid tie system just shuts down immediately. It's essentially acting as a slave to the grid.
If we look at the priority logic of a grid tie system, it's like a simple flowchart playing out in real time. Step 1, your solar power feeds your local loads, like your fridge or the lights in your living room. Step 2, if you've got extra solar juice, it gets exported to the utility. And Step 3, if the sun isn't providing enough, the deficit is automatically pulled in from the grid. The inverter isn't somehow forcing your appliances to run on 100% pure solar. Instead, these power sources are combining dynamically on your home's electrical bus. So if a random cloud passes over your house, your utility current instantly spikes to cover the gap. It's totally seamless, but it's always shifting.
Which brings us to Section 3, Hybrid Active Energy Management.
Now, a hybrid inverter, that is a completely different beast. Unlike a basic grid tie system that just blindly pushes out whatever solar it collects, a hybrid system is like the conductor of an orchestra. It dynamically balances multiple elements all at once: your solar input, your battery storage, your utility import, and whatever your house is demanding at that exact moment. It actively manages all these sources in real time. It can prioritize draining the battery, charging from the sun, or even charging up from the grid when rates are super low overnight.
Just imagine we're running a really heavy load in the house. Watch what happens here. The very split second that the battery support kicks in to help out the solar power, the utility current literally drops off a cliff. The battery is now actively supporting the house, completely intercepting the need to buy grid power. And honestly, this active interception is the defining magic of a hybrid system. It's just so cool to see.
But let's be totally clear for a second. Hybrid systems are amazing, but they aren't magical infinite power sources. If we keep turning on appliances and pushing that household load higher and higher, eventually the utility assistance is going to creep back up. Why? Well, because hybrids are still bound by the laws of physics. They have strict constraints: the inverter's maximum output limit, the battery's maximum discharge rate, thermal temperature protections, and hard-coded firmware safety thresholds. Basically, when you hit the absolute ceiling of what your battery and inverter can safely give you, the grid steps right back in to do the heavy lifting.
Okay, let's tackle Section 4, the zero export reality.
All right, this right here is absolutely crucial. Zero export mode does not mean your house is electrically isolated from the utility grid. I can't stress this enough because that is a really dangerous misunderstanding, especially if you're doing maintenance or firing up a backup generator. Zero export simply means the inverter is dynamically tweaking its output to prevent net excess power from flowing backwards into the grid. You are still completely connected to the utility. The inverter is really just holding up a digital stop sign for outgoing traffic, but the road itself is still fully open.
Because of that open road, if you hook a clamp meter onto the incoming utility line while the system is in zero export mode, you are not going to see a flat, perfect zero. No way. You're going to see something more like 0.4 amps, and it's going to be constantly fluctuating. It hovers right near zero, sure, but it never stops twitching.
So why the constant fluctuation? Simple. Physics takes time. Even a tiny fraction of a second is a big deal here. When your refrigerator compressor suddenly kicks on, your load changes instantly. But the inverter's firmware takes a few milliseconds to actually measure that change, process the new data, and tell the solar panels or batteries to ramp up. And during that tiny microscopic reaction delay, the grid instantly rushes in to fill the gap. Add in your totally normal solar fluctuations like a bird flying over a panel, and you start to realize that these small split-second utility import spikes are completely normal. It's exactly how the system is supposed to work.
Finally, we have Section 5. The science behind measurement.
Look, absolutely none of this data matters if we aren't using our tools correctly. To get an accurate measurement, you must place your current transformer or CT clamp around one single conductor. A shockingly common rookie mistake is clamping both the live and neutral wires together. If you do that, the opposing magnetic fields literally cancel each other out and your reading is totally meaningless. You also have to make sure the clamp is facing the right way to measure the actual direction of the current. Import versus export.
Think of this as your quick technical cheat sheet for why grid draw still happens. In simple terms, AC power equals voltage times current. But the moment you add a battery into the mix, you introduce conversion losses. Inverter efficiency is basically power out equals power in, multiplied by its efficiency rating. And spoiler alert, no system on Earth is 100% efficient. Because of the energy lost as heat when converting DC battery power back into AC household power, a tiny amount of grid draw almost always happens just to keep the whole system perfectly balanced. Oh, and there's another sneaky little hidden variable here, power factor. See, clamp meters measure current in amps, but current alone doesn't actually equal real power in watts. Reactive loads in your house, like the heavy motors in your fridge, your pool pump, or your AC unit, they actually distort current readings because of something called power factor. This literally means you could see two identical current readings on your meter, but they might be representing two completely different amounts of actual real-world wattage being consumed. Before we wrap this up, I need to circle back to one last vital safety warning. Beyond the obvious shock hazards, there are some serious hidden operational risks you need to know about. An incorrectly installed CT clamp can actually reverse your readings, making the system think it's importing power when it's actually exporting. Plus, large hybrid systems can pull hundreds of amps of DC surge current. If your battery terminals are even slightly loose, they will rapidly overheat and literally melt. And worst of all, improper wiring can cause utility backfeed, which energizes dead power lines and puts utility workers' lives at severe risk. Always ensure proper, code-compliant isolation.
This thought really hits the nail on the head for our explainer today. Grid tie primarily offsets energy, hybrid actively manages it. Just like we proved with those clamp meter readings, a grid tie system is just a passive participant. It just blindly pushes whatever sun it catches. But a hybrid system, it's an active manager. It is constantly shifting the load between the sun, the battery, and the grid, making millisecond decisions in real time.
So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. What actually surprised you most about the grid current behavior today? Was it the fact that having solar doesn't instantly zero out your grid draw? Or maybe it was seeing those constantly fluctuating micro imports, even when you're in zero export mode? It's funny, once you physically measure reality, all those slick marketing myths just kind of disappear, don't they? Anyway, keep questioning things, keep measuring, and I will see you in the next explainer.